Uh, all right. Welcome, Mr. Locario. Can you introduce yourself to the people on that's here in this podcast and the guys out in the panel?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Shout out to everybody on the panel. I didn't get you guys' names yet, but was it Samuel and Devin? What up? What's going on? But yeah,
Oh no.
Locario. I'm dating and life. I've been doing this for like 15 years, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this for a minute. So just helping guys, also coach women. You know what I'm saying too. And I just help people get exactly what they want out of the dating game. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I do it.
Nice. Yeah. From like I do a lot of business stuff, right? So in the perspective of business, dating is also like you don't understand, but making a relationship other than women outside of dating, it's just like dating with business. If you're gonna network with someone, it's like dating.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because you still got to just have people skills, social skills, all that stuff. You gotta have.
Yeah. So can you tell the people here what you've been up to, Locario?
Yeah, man. I just been just working. I just finished my new book. It's actually titled "Looks Don't Matter." You see that little picture right there?
Yeah. The pixelated.
That's
I thought that was an NFT.
That's coming out. It's actually coming out next week.
Nice.
Next week and everything. It's just basically a book that's teaching guys how to be more attractive, outside of their looks. Because a lot of guys, they just worry just about the looks. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say, okay, you can be attractive by the way you look, but there's also other things you can do, which every guy can do. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the book is really about. Just like teaching guys how to be attractive in ways that, have little to nothing to do with your looks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Where's that? Where can you find that book? Is that going to be on Amazon?
No, it's actually first it's going to be on my website, Mr.Locario.com. So that's MRLOCARIO.com. So I'm going to have it there first, and then I'm going to drop it on Amazon like in the next few months. I always like to put stuff on my stuff first and then drop it to
Of course. And when's that being released?
It's going to be next week, probably the 16th.
The 16th.
Oh. Yeah, I want to drop it like after Valentine's Day. I want to.
Oh, okay.
Valentine's Day, like as a Valentine's Day present or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I at first I thought I was like an NFT you got back there.
Yeah, that's what it looked. People didn't know what that was. He was like, "Yo, that looks like an NFT." I was like, "What's that?" I don't know that.
So, in the perspective of how should males perceive women in today's society, of course, right. Because people back then they're like, or people now they're saying, oh, you shouldn't look females as cavemen, right? Like ooga booga, like women, men. No, you should, or they're gonna be like, hey, you should look at women as like someone smart, do everything for her or whatever, right? Like she's your princess or some shit.
Right.
So, what's your perspective on this?
Well, the thing is, in general, you got women. You got to look at women as like your counterpart, but then what that means is that somebody you work with. This is why when I teach guys about dealing with women, I tell them about cooperation. So what cooperation means is working together, right? So whenever you're dealing with a woman, you want to see, is she willing to work with you, right? So you have to make the decision to say, I want to do this. And is she willing to do the things I want to do and work with me to do that? So if I say, hey, look, I want to, let's say I was like, I want to start a business selling t-shirts or something like that, right? And I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And this girl that I like, I want her to help me with that. So if she's interested in me, she got to help me sell these t-shirts. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So if she's not trying to help me sell the t-shirts, then I don't want to even deal with her. You see what I'm saying? So you just got to figure out what you want from the girl. And then if she's not working with you to do that, then you keep it moving. So that could even be sex. Like you say, look, I'm trying to hook up. If she's not trying to hook up, if she's not trying to work with me to have this sex, I'm going to find another girl who's trying to work with me to have the sex. So whatever it is you're trying to do, you got to find a girl who's willing to do the things you're trying to do and work with you with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And does that go both ways with the female as well? If she needs like some help on her business?
Yeah, it can. It just depends on also how much effort she's put into you. So this is the mistake a lot of guys make, is that what guys don't understand is, and this is the problem, where guys think they're equal to women. You understand what I'm saying? That it's like the same thing. Now, when I say men and women aren't equal, I don't mean that like women are lower, men are higher, whatever it is. We're just different. So the difference makes us not equal. So now what happens is that women are attracted to men that they follow and that they invest in. So you got to get the girl to invest in you first before you invest in her. You see what I'm saying? So to your question, you can help a girl do whatever she needs to do, but she has to first invest in you for a period of time before you invest in her. Because a lot of times what guys do is they invest in the woman a lot before the woman invests in him, and then she sees no value in him. And that's why guys usually get the short end of the stick, or girls play them. You know what I'm saying? So
Gotcha.
there are a lot of guys like they'll take a girl out to a fancy dinner, buy her flowers, do a bunch of stuff. That's him investing too much. And then she looks at him like a lame, like a loser. You see what I'm saying? Because she's like, why is this guy doing all of this? Because women actually want to do more for you. See, women start to get attached. This is why one of the big reasons why women, even when women have babies, like they have a baby, they take care of the baby, they breastfeed the baby, and they're so attached to the baby, not only because that's their baby, but because they're investing time, energy, and love into the baby. You see what I'm saying? And women are the same way with the men. They want to actually do things for you. So if a woman's not willing to do anything for you, that just means she's not interested in you. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is.
Now, what are some ways that you can get a female to get more interested in you, such as like, how can you bring more value? What can a guy do for themselves?
Right. Well, I think the first thing is that guys have to really start working on themselves to be the most attractive guy they can be. Because once you do that, what happens is that you separate yourself from most men. So the reason why it's hard for a lot of guys to get girls nowadays, like I get guys all the time hit me up, one of the biggest reasons is because if you're having trouble getting women, it's usually because you blend in too much with every other guy. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And that means that you're average. And so what happens is that women always want the guy who is either, that she feels is at the same level or above her level. And so if you're average, you're below her level. That's what she's thinking. You see what I'm saying? And so when a guy works on himself, and when I say work on himself specifically, what that means is, work on your appearance, work on your mindset, you understand? Work on your mouthpiece, meaning work on how you talk to women. If you work on all these things and you work on like getting your money up, whatever it is you got to work on to make yourself the best, that you can be, right? To everything, meaning like even like getting a haircut, make sure your haircut is cut every week, make sure your teeth is white, make sure you know what I'm saying? Make sure you smell good. Like everything should be on point, because what happens is when she meets you, what she's going to say is, oh, he's different than the other guys. And then that's what starts the women wanting to actually invest in you or even pay you attention. You see what I'm saying? So guys have to get that part first, and then it'll be easier for them to get women to pay attention to them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I always say like the female wants your lifestyle. So you need to up your game to do that. And so how can most guys, you'll see a lot of this about gold diggers, right? How can you depict from what a true woman is from a gold digger, right? Since you're already high value, how can you see that the difference?
Well, the thing is that you can't give her any gold. You know what I'm saying? You can't don't give her anything. But also too, you'll see the difference, because a woman who's a gold digger, right, also is the same woman who's going to be sexually attracted to a guy and won't want anything from him. So for example, a woman could be like she could meet a guy and see that he has a lot of money, he got a lot of things going on, but because his game is weak and he's a sucker, he don't know nothing about women, and he's so like excited to be with her, and he's just like thirsty guy, like, oh my gosh, she's so amazing, whatever. She's going to say, oh, okay, I can see he likes me, and I'm just going to like extract as much money and attention from him, and I might give him some, I don't know, maybe, we'll see, right? Then she's going to meet another guy, and that next guy she meets, she's going to be like, man, this guy, I'm actually attracted to him. Like, he's a real man. I'm actually turned on by him. So even if that second guy has a lot of money, she'll deal with him for free, even though he has a lot of money. So she might try to get his money because her energy is of a gold digger, but she'll be like, you know what? Even though I want money from men, this guy, I would deal with him even if I can't get money, because I see value in him, period. So this goes back to what I said, where if a guy is on point, women, what they'll do is that they're more interested in the man than anything else. They're interested in you than anything else. So even if you like, I've dated women who are gold diggers. Like I've hooked up with women who are gold diggers, and I didn't give them any money. But they told me about guys who they showed me like, DMs, and showed me like pictures and freaking messages of guys like sending them money and all this other stuff. And I'm not the one doing that. So it's the same girl, but she's treating two guys differently based off of the value she sees in them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And what's your point of view on like marriage and long-term relationships?
I'll say this. I say that most guys shouldn't get married unless they actually understand what it means to manage a relationship. And so a lot of guys get married and, you know, because even like you were talking about the red pill stuff earlier, a lot of guys in like the red pill community, they're like, don't get married because this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And that's true, that happens. But the reason why it happened is because the guy didn't know how to manage the situation. And so a lot of times what most guys are doing is they get married without actually knowing how to maintain a relationship. Now, if you know how to maintain a relationship, your marriage will be fine in most cases. You understand what I'm saying? Even if y'all break up or y'all get a divorce and all that other stuff, the reason why a lot of guys, you know, they complain about, oh, she took all my stuff and this and that happened. That happens because they were the type of guys that got married and they had no influence over their woman. So guys who actually have influence over their women, even if they break up with the woman, whether they're married or not, or just, you know, girlfriend and boyfriend or not, whatever it is like that, when they break up, the woman still has respect for him. So therefore, he still has some sort of influence over her, which is why the girl doesn't kind of like play him or treat him badly. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Guys are always going to get treated badly and get played by women who don't really have respect for them. And then those women won't have respect for guys if those guys don't know how to manage the relationship. So the way that you manage a relationship, and this is what I tell guys, is if you meet a girl that you like and you're like, oh, I could see myself like being with her because I'm feeling her like that and, you know, she'd be a good girlfriend. I always tell guys to vet women for at least a year. You understand what that means is you hook up with her, you hang out with her, you give her some things to do, you know what I'm saying? See if she's, cooperative with you. You see all that through the year. And if she's been on point for the whole year, then you say, okay, you know what? I'll make you my girlfriend. And so that's the start of the guy knowing how to understanding that, you know, he needs to realize how to manage that situation. That's part of the management is putting her through the ringer for the year. You understand what I'm saying? And then once she's been on point consistently for that year, again, that's her investing for the whole year. That gets her more attached to you and that gets her more interested in you and respecting you because you didn't just give it to her. What most guys do is give it to her. They get with a girl and they end up making her their girlfriend in like 2 weeks. And it's like, she didn't earn it. So therefore she doesn't respect it. And therefore drama is going to happen in most cases.
Yeah. Yeah. Devin, what's your question?
How you doing, Mr. Locario?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Not much, man. I just had a quick question. Now, before we dive into relationships, let's go back to, let's say, your 20s. Fresh out of high school, how would you start to develop yourself and put your life on the right path to become higher in the SMV? Meaning, what are some ways that you would help develop your looks and have a better mindset?
I mean, well, first of all, what it is this. It's funny I saying SMV because I keep hearing that. but basically, to answer your question, it's really about focusing on what you want to make happen and then following that through until the end, until you get to the point where you want to be, and then continuing to develop. So what it is that a lot of guys lose focus on what they want to happen. So even if it's like, getting your body in shape or, learning other things or being consistent to work on a project that you're going to try to finish, whatever it is, or try to get the types of girls you want, anything you're trying to do, you have to focus on it and then do it up until the point where you feel satisfied enough to where you got or reached a goal. But within that, you have to actually not give up on it. So what a lot of guys do is they give up on something because it's not working. So the thing is, you don't want to give up on something when it's not working. You want to see why it's not working, figure out why it's not working, fix that. And then usually when you fix that, it usually ends up working. Because sometimes what happens is the reason why stuff doesn't work or you're not completing your goal is because there's things that you don't know. And because you don't know that thing, you don't know to do that thing to actually complete the goal. So that's one of the biggest things that I had to learn. And I learned that through mentors. I learned that through actually reading books. And there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know. And because I started to know it and I put that into my goal setting and doing everything that I do, it actually just soared and went through. So a lot of times it's the ignorance that makes it to where you don't make it. It's more so just focusing on it, going through it. And then whenever you're having trouble, analyze and say, what else can I do better? Or what do I need to learn to get over this hump? You see what I'm saying?
So constant, constant self-criticism.
Right.
And never giving up and staying consistent.
Exactly. That's all.
would
Mr.
you,
Locario. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
how would you say getting a mentor in your 20s is a good idea?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I would say even with this, you can have a mentor who's like someone you actually talk to, or your mentors can be people who you don't really know, but you look at their information, like you read their books, you watch their videos, you watch their content or whatever it is like that, because you can still learn from those people, and those people have information that can help you grow. You see what I'm saying? So as long as you have, because you got to understand, like, the great thing about having a mentor or someone teaching you is that it's almost like a cheat code. So it's like, so instead of actually making the mistakes, you learn from the other person's mistakes, the mentor's mistakes. You understand? And then they can give you information that probably would have took you 5 years to know, and you know it like in this week. You see what I'm saying? So it's something that I always tell people, don't sleep on that, because a lot of times what happens is that you can get further and go farther than you even thought you were going to go, because you're actually taking it seriously, and you're actually taking the information from someone who's been there before, done it before, made the mistakes and all that other stuff. So you can take that into what you're doing, and then you just out of there. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. You know what I mean?
So you're saying you should take the time to invest into a coach.
Right. Definitely. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because that's always good. That you'll never like, it's not going to hurt you to get it. It's only going to help, because all it's doing is giving you more information and more things you can add to what you're doing in order to get to the place you're trying to go. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And also,
and it's like another point of view as well. Like if you're trying to do something, like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? You can always reach out to that person, and they can tell you their point of view on it too. And then that could probably make up your mind.
Right, definitely. And also too, you got to go out there and do what you do, because sometimes what happens is this, and I always say this, there's certain things that a mentor, teacher, coach can't teach you. And so I always tell guys this, is that the thing that a coach or a mentor, anyone like that can't teach you, is the things you're going to learn on your own by doing it. So for example, I can tell a guy, hey, listen, I could teach a guy, how to, approach a girl, talk to girls, and, certain things he can say. Right. But then when he goes out there and he does it, there's going to be things he's going to learn about himself that he won't know until he's doing it. So until he starts talking to the girl, interacting with the girl, he might be like, damn, I just noticed that every time, I start talking to girls, I can't look them in the eye. You understand what I'm saying? Like I get nervous and I'm looking away. And that's something you'll only know by doing it. So if I keep telling a guy, hey, go up and approach girls, and he never approached a girl, he's not going to know he's the type of guy that's going to be looking around in, on different places, when he's talking to a girl. So he has to go do it, learn that about himself, so that he can actually get better at looking at girls in the eye. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you got to go out there and do things. You see what I mean?
Yeah. And Mr. Locario, so what happened to you back then that got you to transform like this? Like, what's your backstory on this?
Right. So, I mean, well, back in the day, what was funny was, so I remember first time I had sex, I was 16 years old. Right. And that was my first girlfriend, like my first real girlfriend or whatever at 16 years old. We was doing that thing. She was 18 at the time, or no, she was 17 at the time, I think. Or just turning 17. But anyway, so after I got with her and we broke up, and then I just started like really going hard, like talking to a lot of different women, right? And so I was getting certain girls here and there, but I was like getting rejected like 95% of the time, because it's like I was just wilding, didn't know what I was doing, didn't know how to talk to girls, didn't read social cues, nothing. I was just wilding out. But the thing that I had that I thought was good was I had the motivation and the drive to do it, which is why I kept doing it. But what happened was, like I said, there were certain things that I was like, why am I keep like messing up, or what's going on? I need to know what's going on. So I started reading books. So I remember this guy named Tariq Nasheed. Back in the day, he came out with this book called The Art of Mackin' that I read. There was another guy named David D'Angelo came out with this book called Double Your Dating. And, and I used to look at a lot of different things on forums and stuff. And then so when I was going out there, I started just talking to more women and interacting with more women. And I just got better and more comfortable talking to women and doing those things. So when I started doing that, and this is what I tell guys, this is like when you start to really get good at game and understanding different things when it comes to women. When you're out there, you're going to start seeing patterns. And so the patterns are the things that make it easier for you to become advanced at interacting with women and making things happen. And so when I say patterns, what happens is that the more women you talk to, the more you're going to start to see similar scenarios and also similar conversations. So I'll give you a quick example. Like, for example, you might run into a lot of women who you're talking to, and, you know, as you're talking to them, they'll be like, oh yeah, well, they'll be like, I have a boyfriend, right? So you'll hear that a lot of times. So now, because you hear that, right, and what you realize or what you know as you're doing that is some of them are being honest and some of them are lying, right?
Yeah.
And then so sometimes what happened was I was like, oh yeah, I keep hearing women say they got a boyfriend. So I would have like a response to that sometimes to see if they was telling the truth or if they were lying, right? But even beyond that, as I kept doing that, I realized that the only reason women say that they have a boyfriend is that they're not really that into you. So I didn't know that until later. You feel what I'm saying? And so what happened was I started, and the reason why I noticed that was because there were girls that I would hook up with quickly and they would cooperate heavy. And then I would sleep with them. You know what I'm saying? I'll hook up and sleep with them. And then they would tell me afterwards they had a boyfriend. I'm like, wait a second. So I remember one girl I asked, I said, yo, well, why didn't you tell me you had a boyfriend? She's like, well, I didn't want you to know because I wanted to have sex with you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like little things like that you start to learn, you know, as you're doing what you're doing, which gives you more insight on women and yourself in the interactions. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So usually whenever you see like a problematic like that, where she's like, oh, I have a boyfriend, you usually ask yourself, why did you say that to yourself? So that you can have that self-criticism to learn, like to solve that problem to yourself, so that whenever you come up in the future, you understand why they say it now.
Right.
Like,
yeah, right. Exactly. It's kind of like just having the knowledge of what's going on, because the more you do it, the more knowledge you have about why things are happening. And then also what happens is the more knowledge you have about it, the less you take things personally. Because a lot of guys, they take things personally when it comes to dealing with women because they don't really have the knowledge as to why women do things, why things are happening, and also the knowledge of themselves to recognize their value, to realize that no matter what a woman does, it doesn't take away from you. A lot of guys are scared to get rejected. And, you know, I say rejected because rejection is really like nonsense anyway, but they scared to talk to a girl and a girl just not want to get with them because they think if the girl doesn't get with me, that must mean I'm a loser. Or that must mean that, you know, like I'm whack and I'm ugly or whatever it is. And so understanding more about the game and more about women and more about like interacting with women will make you less sensitive to these things because you know better. So the thing is, a lot of times ignorance is the thing that causes more and more people to be insecure, because if you don't know certain things, you assume she said this to me because I suck. And that's the story you're going to keep telling yourself. And then you're just going to be, you know, it's going to be a wrap.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah. What do you, I always hear this a lot in like this type of community where they talk about open relationships, right?
Right.
So if you're in a long-term relationship, they're like, oh, a guy can cheat, but a girl can't because they're two different things. So what's your point of view on that? Like, hey, a guy can go after these girls, but a girl, she has to stay home and do all that stuff.
Right. No, I mean, this is the thing. Men and women can cheat. It ain't, you know, guys they try to have that that thought process of, oh, the man can't cheat and the women, you know, would, whatever. But the reason why guys say that type of stuff is because they look at it like, well, it's their perspective. Because if you got with a girl, right, and let's say, just for sake of argument, it took you a month and a half to sleep with her. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Your perspective is, well, this is my girlfriend, and when we met, it took a month and a half. So I know she ain't out here just sleep. She can't just sleep with some guy like that quick, because it took me a month and a half. So from your perspective, your girl needs to get to know a guy before she sleeps with him. You see what I'm saying? So now if she cheats on you, you're like, what the hell? Like, who are you? Like, I thought you were the type of girl that wouldn't do that because that's what you experienced, right? So it's almost like a brain, like you're like, oh my God, what's going on? And then but for men, we look at it like, well, we're not cheating because we usually aren't going to get girls that's going to be chasing us down every 2 seconds. And then if we do have some other girl that's trying to get at us, usually it's because we put in some work. So it's just like our perspectives are different on the whole thing. But a man or woman can definitely cheat. You understand what I'm saying? But when it comes to an open relationship, all an open relationship really is a relationship where the two people make their own rules as to what's going to go on in that specific relationship that's outside of the realms of monogamy. So you know what I mean? So me and my wife we have an open relationship. We're non-monogamous. I have a girlfriend also. And you know, so when I first got with my wife, when we were just like dating, you know, she came up to me like, you know, as we were dating later on down the line, she was like, hey, I want to be with you. And I said, cool. But I was like, if you want to be with me, we're going to have this as an open thing. You know what I'm saying? So then she was like, okay, cool. I'm down with that. So then me and her been together for 15 years at this point. You know what I mean? And then so my girlfriend, we've been together for 3 years. And when I met her, she knew I had a wife. She was like, okay, cool. You know, and we was rocking together. And then we ended up we just kept doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's how our situation is. You know what I mean?
Nice. And does your wife have a boyfriend herself, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's a dude she's with now that she's been seeing for like a year. My girlfriend at right now, she's not have seen anybody seriously at this point. But yeah, that's where it's at right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of guys would find that weird. Like, wait, she doesn't does she have the same feelings towards you that she does with the other guy, or like how does that work?
Well, that's the thing. What's interesting about open relationships is this, right? A lot of people they'll be like, I can't do that. That's crazy, and jealousy. And what if what if this person wants to leave you for this? What if this? What I always tell people: no matter what type of relationship you are in, there is no such thing as security in a relationship. Meaning that at any point, at any time, any girl you're dealing with could leave you, not want to be with you, not want to deal with you, and all this other stuff. Now, the more attached and the more in love she is with you, the harder that might be, but it's not impossible for her to go at any moment, right? So to worry about that is like, this is going to drive yourself crazy. Now, as far as the person, loving this person more than that, it's actually impossible for someone to love somebody more then they love you and all this other stuff. It seems like they can, but it's actually impossible. What it really is that it's a different type of situation. So you might love something about this person, and then love something else differently about this person. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why is because since those are two different people, it's impossible to love something more if it's different. So for example, you can say I like this more or I prefer this more, but you can't say I love this more than this because it's two different things. So you just prefer something else. So for example, if you gave me 2 Big Macs from McDonald's, right? And I eat this one or I bite into this one, I might say, yeah, I like this one more because it's cold and this one more, like this one more because it's hot and the other one's cold or whatever, right? So whatever. But if you give me a Big Mac and then you give me a Whopper from Burger King, right? I could say, yeah, I like the Big Mac better. You understand what I'm saying? But what it is that it's impossible for me to really compare and each one of them because they're different. It's a different type of flavor, different type of, ingredients or whatever. So what happens is in an open relationship, you look at those two different things and you're like, there's things that I love about them both. You understand what I'm saying? So it's hard, it's a hard thing to say more because it's almost like saying do you love your son or daughter more? You know what I mean? Like you might have a favorite kid, but you still love them both. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, you're like, oh, I love this kid, but I hate this kid. And some people do that, but the point is I'm trying to make is that because they're different, you love them both, but it's a different type of energy when you're with them because it's the funny part. If you're talking to 2 different girls, right? Let's say one girl likes to go out and party and hang out and do things outdoors. And another girl likes to chill inside and watch movies on Netflix, right? And you like to do both. So what happens is you might be like, yo, I love this girl because she likes to go out and climb mountains and do all that other stuff, which I like to do. And I also love this girl because she likes to chill and watch Netflix, which I also love to do. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, well, she's better than this. It's like they're different. And I love both of those situations for different reasons. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of like how it works. Because even if, let's say, for example, you was with a girl and you're worried about her leaving you, I always say the interesting part about relationships is that in a relationship, what's good is that the person is choosing to stay with you because of you. So if the girl leaves you for somebody else, what happens is that she's just basically saying that, hey, I want to be over here, but she can't get the experience of you anywhere else. So if I want a Big Mac, I got to go to McDonald's. That's the only place I can get a Big Mac. I can't get a Big Mac at Wendy's, Burger King, freaking, Five Guys, none of that stuff. I got to go to McDonald's to get a Big Mac. So if that girl wants to be with me, she has to be here. Nowhere else. There's nowhere else you can get this experience. So that's why I try to tell guys, don't worry about if a girl leaves you, because when she's leaving you, she's also leaving the experience she's having with you. So this is why a lot of times when a girl leaves and she comes back, she's coming back because she wants that experience back and she can't get it nowhere else. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You got to just make sure that you're confident within yourself, because whoever is dealing with you, they're dealing with you because they're making a conscious decision to, and they really understand the value that you have. And that's why they're there. And even on the flip side, last thing I'll say is that's the reason why sometimes it's hard for the woman to leave. So if you're like, man, I'm scared she's going to leave me, usually, and I tell guys this all the time, and this is what happens when you get good at game. Most guys are scared that a girl's going to leave. Guys who have game, they're like, how am I going to get rid of this woman? That's what you start thinking, because when you have game, it's hard to get rid of a woman. It's so hard. My ex-girlfriend, when we broke up, I broke up with her because we was going through these arguments. I was like, nah, this is whack. And then so I walked away from her. She freaking texted me like all night, all day. She called my wife and everything. She's like, oh, how come he's not paying? Like, it was hard to get rid of her. You understand? Because she was so in love with me, even though I was like, yo, I'm done. So what happens is that when a woman is really, really feeling you, and me and her are still cool to this day, but when a woman's really, really feeling you, it's hard to get rid of her. You see what I'm saying? That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. And does game work on all ages of women, or does it get harder as the female gets older and older?
Oh, no, it's every woman. See, that's the thing. Like, and let me just explain about game, because I think a lot of people get confused about game. All game is a strategy to get what you want, right? And I did a live stream about this other day where a lot of guys think game is doing something to try to get a girl to like you. You understand? And that's not really what game is. The game is strategy to get what you want. So if I want, let's say I want a pretty girl to date, right? And let's say there's 5 girls at my school or in my class, you understand what I'm saying? And I'm looking at those 5 girls. Right? I might not get any of those 5 girls, and they're like the prettiest girls in the class, right? But if I go outside the classroom, there might be a girl who's as pretty or even prettier than the 5 girls in my classroom. So it's not about getting any particular girl. It's about having the knowledge that you can get the type of girls you want. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of guys get stuck on that girl. It's like, forget that girl. You can get women, period, and get the types of women you want, because you're not going to get that girl specifically sometimes, because that girl just may not be into you. So game isn't a thing to make a girl like you. Game is about you finding the girls that like you. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. It's not to get the girl to like you. It's to get the girls that like you. Because understand this, if a girl has no interest in you, there's really nothing you can do to make her interested. What guys get confused is that you have, I always tell guys, is only interest and no interest, right? And within interest, there's high interest, medium interest, and low interest. So those 3 types of girls, high, medium, and low interest, you can get those girls. If a girl has no interest in you, you can never get her. It's not going to happen, period. Like, it don't matter what you do. You understand? It's the equivalent of, let's say if you had let's say if you knew like a gay dude, and the gay dude is like, hey, how do I get Devin? I want Devin to be with me. I'm like, bruh, Devin might not be into dudes. So if Devin ain't into dudes, you ain't getting them, period. It's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? So It's the same thing for a woman. If she's not into you, you're just not her type. She's not feeling you for whatever reason. It just ain't going to work. Now, if you meet a girl who has maybe low interest or medium interest, you can still get her. You can still like even increase her interest over time or whatever it is, but you can get her because there's some interest there. You see what I'm saying? But so what the game does is that it can work on girls from any age, right? You just have to know how to interact with women to where you're going to get the highest percentage of the types of women you want. And this is why I said it goes back to what I said before. Becoming the most attractive guy you can be, because then it's going to be easier for you to pull the type of women you want. You see what I'm saying? That's the key, no matter what the age is. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the thing, is that if you have, because the game, I always tell guys, it's about them. It's not about women. The game is always about you. Because like I said earlier, the reason why I was able to go and talk to all these other girls, and even though I was getting rejected, was because I wasn't letting necessarily what the girls were saying stop me. And that's what most guys do. They'd be like, man, she rejected me and this girl rejected me. I got rejected by 8 girls. I give up. That's you making it about the women. But game is about making it about you, because now if you get rejected by 8 girls, cool. Let's go to the 9th girl and see if that's the girl that's actually trying to make something happen and cooperate. That's what the game is. It's the strategy to get what you want. It's not to impress the girl. It's not to like try to get the girl to like you and waste time. It's not to like lie to the girls and do a bunch of goofy shit. It's really thinking about what you want and going after that. And that's it.
Yeah. And I want to say this thing where I call this like I think I heard it before, but I just recall it. It's like you're living in Disney World, basically. Mm-hmm. So a lot of guys, they get into like these friendships, right, with like females, right, from high school or whatever, right? They've been friends with this girl. They're playing the long game, right? They're like, oh, I'm just gonna be friends with her, and if I get the opportunity, I'll ask her out to be my girlfriend, right?
Right.
What, like, they believe in that one thing. They have like one-nightitis, right? So what is your opinion on all that?
Yeah, that's terrible when guys do that. Don't ever, like, because, and also too, you're shooting yourself in the foot when you do that. Well, first of all, because and this is another thing you got to understand about game, which sort of like flips the switch in a woman's mind, right? The way that you act has a big influence on a woman's attraction to you, right? So let's say a woman meets you and she's like, oh, he seems kind of cool, whatever, but she's not like, head over heels about you, but she's like, oh, he's cute, whatever it is, like that, right? Now, based off of the way you act is going to tell her what type of guy you are, because women they have to have a filtering system when they're dealing with men. And a lot of guys don't know this. So what happens is, because women get bombarded with a lot of guys, they have to have like a subconscious filtering system to determine what type of guy you are. So if you're the type of guy that says, hey, I'll be your friend and I'll be in the friend zone and blah, 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 and all this other stuff, what that's telling her is that you're not an attractive guy. Why? Because an attractive guy wouldn't be like just settling for a woman's friend, to be a woman's friend. An attractive guy would be too busy out here dating, hooking up, and having a good time with women, right? So what happens is that if that guy is trying to talk to that girl and she's like, oh, we could be friends, he would like, nah, listen, I'm not trying to do that friend stuff. But listen, here's my number. When you change your mind about getting together, hit me up. And then he just walks away. She's going to be more attracted to that guy than a guy that's like, okay, I'll be your friend. Because that first guy that's like, here's my number, and he walks away, she's like, man, he must, actually have women, and he must be like a interesting dude if he's just going to walk away from me this way. Because that's telling her something about him, that he has the confidence to walk away. He's going to go get with other girls and she's going to miss out. That's what she starts to think. So sometimes what happens is she changes her mind and be like, okay, let me call him and see what he's about. Right. So your actions are always going to tell women what type of guys you are. Because remember, also, sometimes these women have given guys chances who were, let's say, guys who were kind of needy, you know what I mean? And kind of weird. And so what happened is, let's say she gave a guy her number and then he texted her and she didn't respond because she was like in class or something, or she was like working or whatever. And then he texts her again and he's like, hey, what's up? And he texts her a third time and she still didn't respond. He's like, yo, why the F you ain't hit me back? And why you acting like... So she's like, yo, this guy's crazy. Like, why is he stalking me? And she got to block him and do all this other stuff. So what happens is that when she runs into another guy that reminds her of him, of that guy, if she runs into another needy guy, another weird, clingy type of dude, she's going to automatically reject him. Because that guy reminds her of all the other goofy guys that would do that type of stuff. But if a guy's chill, calm, cool, collected, confident, he reminds her of all the other cool, calm, collected, confident guys that she actually liked. So this is why I tell guys, your behavior is going to give a woman an indication of what type of guy you are. And then usually she'll make a decision in most cases based off of that. And a lot of times it's subconscious. For example, I'll give you another example too that a lot of guys don't know. This is why I say you got to work on your appearance, your look, get a shape up, shave your hair, whatever it is like that. Do you know that women, I tell guys this all the time, women are more receptive to you approaching them and talking to them based off of your appearance. So if you have like nice clothes on, your hair is cut, your teeth is white, you're smelling good or whatever, and you go up to a woman and you say, hey, how you doing, miss? Most of the time she will talk to you just off of your appearance. Now, the reason why women do that is because women judge themselves based off of the type of men that approach them. You see what I'm saying? So now let's do the reverse. Let's say a guy's walking up to the girl. He has like ripped, like his jeans look all dirty. His shoes is messed up. He's smelling like kind of musty. He's like, yo, girl, how you doing? She gonna look at him like, and then what happened is, this is why girls act like bitches sometimes to certain guys, because she's offended that you would even approach her. She's like, what would make this dusty dude think he could talk to you? You understand what I'm saying? Because then it reflects bad on her. She's like, what is it about me? That makes this guy feel he can approach? But when you're on point and when your appearance is tight, she's happy you approached because it makes her feel good about herself. She's like, look at the type of guy I can get to approach me. And then she's more receptive. This is why I say that it's important to work on your appearance and everything else, because it makes the woman way more receptive to you, because she's like, oh, I can actually attract guys like this versus those other bums. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dev, you had a question?
Yeah, but you answered most of my questions, Mr. Locario. But there was one I still had. It was you were talking about having game and developing soft skills. How would you go about developing soft skills like that, besides just approaching women?
So how do you develop what type of skills?
Soft skills.
What do you mean by that?
Speaking, flowing well in the conversation, getting to the point clearly. Is there a way that you can develop that? Yeah,
definitely. Well, I mean, the best way to develop it is really just to actually get in there and start talking to women. But there's ways that you can do it. Like, for example, I always tell guys what's good is was really good to help you work on thinking on your feet and talking is do like improv classes. I always recommend that for guys, because improv classes help you be able to think on your feet quick. And what happens is that when you were able to think on your feet quickly, it's easier for you to really interact with women in a way where they feel like, okay, this guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, he knows what he's talking about, and I'm feeling this interaction. Because most guys don't know how to talk to women. Most guys get nervous, they get tongue-tied, they don't know what to say, whatever. And so what happens is whenever you're able to just think on your feet and come back and start saying certain things and lead the conversation, she's going to be more receptive to you off the jump. Because remember, I always tell guys, most dudes, unfortunately, don't know how to do any of this. So even if you know how to do this somewhat good, you're above most guys. Another thing that can help you as far as developing the skills is one of the things that's important as a man, and I talk about this in my new book, is being decisive. So what a lot of guys do is, instead of like, let's say you're trying to set up a date, a guy might say to a girl, he'd be like, oh, so what do you want to do? And that's the worst thing you can say to a girl. Don't ever ask a girl what she wants to do. You just say, hey, listen, Friday night, 8:00, we're going to go to the Main Street bar and we're going to get together over there. So you're just letting her know what it is. You're being decisive. So what can help you be decisive, because a lot of guys are indecisive, is you want to start practicing making quick decisions on, little things that you do in your life. So for example, you might, even for example, like if you're on Netflix, right? You might be on Netflix and you scrolling through movies to try to watch something. Like, you might be there for like 15 minutes trying to figure out something to watch. Like,
hour.
Right, exactly. So what you do is on Netflix and try to make a decision within like less than 2 minutes to pick something and watch it. You see what I'm saying? Or if you're at the grocery store, right, and you just walk in and be like, oh, I'm going to get, a few things, whatever. Like, make those quick decisions of what you're going to write down, what you're going to get, and just go do it. So you want to get yourself in a mindset of being able to make quick decisions, because what happens is that women, they feel like very in their feminine, like really, really deeply when they're with a guy who is decisive, because being decisive is extremely masculine. So when you're asking a girl, hey, what do you want to do? You're giving her the masculine role. So she's like, what the hell? Like, why is this guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a turnoff. But when you're able to decide quickly, right, what happens is that you're able to be decisive, which makes her see like, oh, okay, this guy, he's a leader. I can follow this guy. I feel like I can just like relax and he can guide me wherever he's trying to go. You see what I'm saying? So being decisive is extremely important.
Okay.
And Locario, what are some myths or things that you came upon that are not true? Like for example, right, on TikTok, you'll see guys that are using pickup lines. Like, what's your point? What's your point of view on like pickup lines or any of the other myths out there?
Yeah, this is the thing. pickup lines. I mean, it's kind of goofy. See, this I don't necessarily think dudes need to think about pickup lines. It's more so like I was saying earlier. Remember when I was talking about you'll start to see patterns of certain things when you're talking to girls. So instead of having pickup lines, what you can have is that within your repertoire of what you're talking about with women, if you notice the same scenarios and situations, then you have lines that you have things that you go to respond. So for example, like let's say, for example, like one of the things that you might hear a lot is when you're out and about talking to women or whatever, trying to pull girls and hook up with them, whatever, hook up with them or whatever, right? Girls might say something like, "Oh, I hardly even know you. I don't even know you like that. Or we just met," or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is that because you're going to hear that a lot, right? And sometimes this is what will happen. Sometimes you might say something like in the moment that just like actually works, just like, to guide the conversation in a different way. Or you might think to yourself and say, what can I say when I hear girls say this type of thing? You feel what I'm saying? And then you can say that. So instead of a pickup line, you have, you can say lines that you say based off of responding to things you hear multiple times. Like when chicks are trying to resist, they have that resistance of, oh, I don't know you and I got to get to know you more, or whatever it is like that. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have that type of thing. But as far as myths are concerned, I would say one of the things that guys think they need to do, which they don't, is build rapport. Like I'm sure you heard of that before, where you gotta build rapport with the woman and make her comfortable before you go on a date with her or whatever. You don't need to do any of that. What it is that when it comes to women, like for example, this is what guys will do. They'll match with a girl on one of these dating sites, Tinder or whatever, and they'll try to set up a date for like the weekend, right? And let's say they do this on Tuesday. And so they have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, up until Saturday, they're going to meet the girl. So throughout the whole week, he thinks he needs to text her, call her, hey, what's up? How's your day going? And he thinks he needs to to check in on her so that up until the date. And guys do that because they think they don't want the girl to forget about them. They want it to go smoothly, and they think they're supposed to get to know her like that, right? And the funny part is doing that a lot of times actually messes things up than actually helps. So what I tell guys is set the date, don't talk to her, don't text her, don't do nothing. On the day of the date, then you hit her up and confirm. You understand that you're going to still see each other on Saturday and you actually see her in person and talk to her there. But a lot of guys think they have to build rapport, do all this other extra shit, and it doesn't do anything, because what happens is if a woman is excited to see you or she's interested in seeing you, you don't have to do anything else to get her more excited. Like she's already thinking about it. The ironic part is that if you do call her, text her, doing all that extra stuff, you might make her lose interest in seeing you because you might say something stupid, or you know what I'm saying? Or you might reveal to her certain things that you shouldn't at the moment. That's going to make her be like, I don't think I'm going to see this guy. But if you would have just shut up and not said anything and then saw her, everything would have been cool. So a lot of guys think they have to build rapport and do all that other stuff. A lot of guys also think another myth is that you have to spend a lot of time with a woman before you can have sex, which is false, right? There's times where I've literally met women and had sex with them within 10 minutes of meeting them. You understand what I'm saying? And so what happens is that the reason why that happens, and I always tell guys is this, it's all about flirting and building sexual tension, right? And also being direct. So for example, I was at a meetup event once. It's like a networking event. I was actually on my way out the event and this girl comes in. She didn't even literally, she just got in the door. So I'm about to go out the door. She's coming in the door, right? So as soon as I see her come in the door, I said, hold on. I was like, hey, listen, I was about to leave, but I was like, what's your name? You know what I'm saying? So I started talking to her and we were talking for maybe at least 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes tops, right? So then when I'm talking to her, I'm flirting with her, I'm building sexual tension and all that. She's giggling, laughing, whatever. So then she says to me, she's like, hey, do you want to get out of here and go back to my place? So I say, yeah, let's make it happen. So we just hopped in a cab, went to her place, and then we hooked up. And I only known this girl for 10 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So, and this is the type of stuff that's happened multiple times in certain situations where I just meet a girl and it goes down that quickly. So if a woman is sexually attracted to you, the sex will happen quick. A lot of times, the reason why guys don't get this or believe this is because they're dealing with girls who don't really have high interest in them. And so this is why the girls will say, hey, let's talk more and let's go out on a date and I got to get to know you. All those are words that basically mean I don't have high interest. Like I have medium interest, I might have low interest in you, but my interest isn't high. When a woman's interest is high, her sexual interest is like, I want to do this ASAP with you. You see what I'm saying? And you'll know that based off of how you're talking to her, flirting with her, building that sexual tension and being direct about wanting it to happen. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what's your ideal on like prenups and all the things that like let's say I want to have an open relationship, right? How would you introduce that to the females that you're with?
You talking about like prenups, like if you get married and stuff like that? Yeah. I think what it is that you definitely should. Well, this is how I look at it, right? I look at it like if you're the type of guy, right, who has a business and you're making money and you're doing what you do, right? You should have something in place that says if we get divorced, this is the stipulations of what's going to go down. Right now, my thing is this, and this is why I was saying earlier about vetting and making a girl go through the ringer. Right. I personally don't believe you should marry a woman until you've been with her for at least 5 years. So I say a year for a girlfriend and at least 5 years for a wife. Right now, within those years, because I believe in putting a woman to work. So within those years, right, she should actually be helping me build whatever I build. So now let's say I've been with her for 10, 15 years and we get a divorce, right? If in the event that I'm supposed to give her some money, it would be money she earned. You see what I'm saying? Because she helped me build this. So for example, Jeff Bezos, when he got divorced, I was like, hey, it is what it is. She helped him build that whole empire. So give her some paper. You understand? Now, the problem is a lot of these guys that get with women quickly, get married to these women quickly, and then the women divorce them quickly, and then they take half their stuff, but the women didn't put in any work. Or like in Dr. Dre's situation, even though he's rich, he still has, that 100,000 or 100 whatever million that he was giving her is nothing because he has that's whatever pocket change to him. But either way, from what I heard, she didn't really, do anything. So I don't even know, I'm not in their relationship, but from what I heard, I didn't hear that she was helping him make beats or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to marry a woman, make sure she's helping with whatever is going on. So in the event that she needs to get some money or whatever, she's not getting money for nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Or she's not getting any monetary thing for just sitting there being pretty. I always tell guys, a woman in your life, she should be actually helping you do damn near everything, like cooking, cleaning, helping you with your business, washing your clothes, like freaking whatever you need. She should be basically like your assistant. You understand what I'm saying? And if that's not the case, you shouldn't even be in a relationship with a woman like that, period. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what's your best advice for guys that are okay? Before we do that, well, what's your definition of love, Mr. Locario? Like a lot of guys, they have oh, love this, or some girls will be like, why can't you say I love you or some shit like that?
Right. That's interesting. Well, this is the thing. I think it's hard to talk about what is love because it's so abstract, but I can say what love isn't and then see what happens. Because I have one of my mentors who he's actually like I was telling you, a mentor could be anybody you learn from, whatever. Is this dude named Anthony DeMello. He's actually like a spiritual teacher. He's passed away now. He was I think he passed away in the 80s or something like that. But he was talking about this topic, and he was basically saying, and I agree with him with this. He was saying that love is an attachment. So a lot of people think attachment is love. So like you or your girl or whatever, you're like, oh my God, I love you. I want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. But what happens is really a lot of times is attachment, meaning that you're so attached. What it means is that if, let's say, for example, y'all break up or, something happens, you feel this hurt, but the hurt is coming from attachment. It's not because you loved her, it's because you're attached. So what love it's not attachment. It's not this thing where, you know, like everything's going to be perfect. It's not this thing where, you know, everything is like, you know, sunshine and rainbows, right? So a good example of love, and I think he talked about this too, is when the sun shines, right? It shines on everybody. It doesn't say I'm only going to shine on the nice people, and all the bad people I'm not going to shine on them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm only going to shine on the people that's cool, but the other people that's acting like assholes, I'm not going to shine on them. So the sun just shines, and it shines on everybody. So that's what love is. Love is you do things because you do it because it's coming from you in an authentic place. So I don't need you to do anything for me or be a certain type of way for me to love you. Now, if you say, I love you because you did A, B, and C, and now I don't love you because you're not doing A, B, and C, that's not really love. And that's what most people think. Most people think love as a transaction. Like, well, if you're good to me and you're a nice person to me, then I'll be a nice person to you, and now that means we love each other. And as soon as you act like an asshole, I'm gonna be like, fuck you. And then now you see what I'm saying? Like, love is really like the tree gives you shade. The tree is gonna give you shade regardless if you're a murderer or a saint. You know what I'm saying? And that's what love is that I show you love because I just feel this energy, and this is what I'm giving you. And I'm not expecting you to be anyway. I'm not expecting anything in return. It's just something that I'm emanating and that I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of times what happens is we get confused because we think that love means, you know, oh, well, I have to do this for you, then you got to do this for me. And if you don't, and you know, and I'm giving you all these gifts, and if you don't give me anything back, then that's just bartering, and that's just transaction, and that's not really what love is. And also love too is if you're showing someone love, it means acceptance. I think that's one of the big things. Do I accept you for who you are? And so if you're with a woman and she's constantly trying to change you, that means she don't really love you. Because if she loved you, she wouldn't try to change you. She would actually accept you for who you are. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. You see what I mean?
Yeah. And Locario, what's your best long-term advices? Because I know a lot of people they get into like arguments with their girlfriends or wives, right? Basically, I give this analogy where it's like, would you rather have the meats and the bones, meaning that the bones are like the arguments, the negative stuff, right?
Right.
Or would you rather have just the boneless chicken, right? Where you could just have sex or whatever with random girls, right? So what's your point of view on like having these arguments? Do you think like it makes the long-term relationship stronger in the long run?
As far as having arguments, you saying does arguments make it stronger?
Just having like what do you call it? They have different point of views sometimes, and they discuss about it, and sometimes it gets heated, I guess you would say.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they make up for it. So what's your point of view on that whenever they have it consistently, like constantly?
Right. I think, well, the thing is this, I don't think that having arguments in relationships are a good thing. Because arguments, like truthfully, and this is what I was saying about vetting someone, is that if a woman's going to be my girlfriend, like we should have little to no arguments ever. And the reason why I say that is because if I vet you or if I test you out for a year, maybe 18 months before I make you my girlfriend, that means for that year to 18 months, there's no argument. And if there is an argument, I will never make you my girlfriend. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, you know what I'm saying? So what happens is that when a woman becomes your girlfriend, there shouldn't actually be any arguments because she's been trained not to argue with you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, where a lot of times arguments happen because people just put the label or jump into the relationship, not seeing if you're compatible. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of arguments stem from a lot of incompatibility between the two people in the relationship. But when you're and so the thing is, it's not to say that a relationship is going to be perfect, but what it is that instead of it being an argument, there can be like respectful disagreements where we can talk and we can work it out. But if it's a lot of arguments and a lot of back and forth and cursing at each other and all this other stuff, and then you make up and then you curse at each other and then y'all do that, and that's actually like an unhealthy relationship. And the funny part is most people think that's normal because a lot of people do that. They think, oh, it's normal to argue with. It's not normal. You see what I'm saying? What happens is that you're actually, putting forth a bunch of negative energy into your situation. And then what you do is that you get yourself used to thinking that's normal. And then when you break up, you take that to your other relationship. So you're taking a lot of messed up energy to your other relationship. And then that continues to, you start to deal with other people who think that's normal. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all are both two people thinking that's normal, arguing, stressing each other out. And then this is where people get so frustrated with relationships. Like, oh, forget relationships. I'm just going to chill by myself. It's because your entire experience with relationships was arguing, was this is the normal thing. It's just like a person who, like, let's say a person who, you know, is in like a woman who gets, you know, in a domestic violence type of dispute with her boyfriend or whatever. And she's going to think a guy beating her isn't that bad. Oh, it's not that bad.
Love, yeah.
Right. He loves me. That's why he's doing it. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, that's not what it is. It's just that you think it's normal because you've been doing that the whole time and you've never seen anything else besides that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, what do you feel about those that take couples therapy or that type of stuff? Do you think it's worth it? Or do you think, hey, you should just like split apart? Because if it's not working out between you two, like you said,
right.
But they're trying to come up with a solution to it. Do you think they should still be dating or?
Yeah, I think it's good if people go to couples therapy, but I think it comes to the point where each person has to be honest with themselves and see if they're actually have enough compatibility to continue to be together. Because this is the thing. People don't have to be like, you know, 99, 100% compatible, because most people aren't going to be. But if you're like, you know, let's say like 85, 90% compatible, where y'all actually can at least, you know what I'm saying? Like that y'all have a good time most of the time. And then y'all probably have one or two things that annoy each other. That's fine. But if it's like too much, where it's like 50, half the time y'all just at each other's throats and y'all just don't like to be together or do this certain type of things, then it's better to break up and then find someone else that you're compatible with. Because a lot of times what happens is, and this is one of the drawbacks also of investment, because I was saying that before, a woman can invest in you and even a man can invest in a woman. And what happens is that investment makes you want to stay longer because you've invested so much time and energy, and you don't want to, like, you know, be like, damn, I wasted all this. You don't want to break up because you're going to feel like you wasted all this time and energy. Right. But at the same time, there comes a point where it's better to break it off so that you don't keep investing and keep being in a negative kind of relationship, so that you can break it off and find something better in the situation. So you could take time to, you know, heal yourself from all the nonsense and then find something better. So a lot of times what happens is that the investment keeps people in these messed up relationships at the end of the day. Like even, and this is crazy because this is why a lot of guys end up dealing with women who aren't really good for them, or women who might be, you know, like on some bitchy type of stuff, is because the guy's like, well, man, I done took her out 5 times already. We went to dinner and, you know, I haven't had sex yet. So I'm trying to hold on to make sure this, you know what I'm saying? And so they just keep holding on to a situation that might not necessarily be good. And then what happens is that they keep going, because the more investment you do, the more you want to stay. Then the more you stay, the more investment, the more you want to stay. So it's a cycle, and you get caught up and you're like, how the hell did I end up in this 5-year BS relationship? And that's because you kept staying, which kept more investment, which kept more staying. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy.
And what about kids? Would you say, because I know a lot of guys, they have kids with like a baby mom where like they're divorced or whatever, right? And they have a kid, and that's what connects them. What's your point of view of guys having kids and guys that have kids already?
Right. Well, the thing is, I don't have any kids, and I don't want to. Personally, but what I mean, my opinion on it though is that I feel like I feel like people are a little too reckless with who they have kids with. Honestly, I feel like people kind of make it seem like, oh yeah, well, whatever, that's just my baby mama. I feel like you shouldn't even be thinking about kids unless you're in a long-term relationship or you're married. You understand? Like you should not be having a one-night stand with some woman and getting her pregnant. Like I think that type of stuff, or just like hooking up with some girl and she becomes your baby mama, like that type of stuff is crazy to me, because I feel like if you don't have an actual relationship or some type of bond with this person you're going to have a kid with, if you don't get along with them, if you don't really know them inside and out, there should be no baby making with these people. And that also comes with understanding how to be disciplined in how you have sex. Because some people, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who just go raw, you know what I'm saying, with anybody. It's insane. And so you got so many people just going raw doing this type of stuff. And then what happens is that they end up getting these people pregnant that they didn't even know like that. So now you got a baby mama and you didn't know she was a bitch. You didn't know she was crazy. And now you got to deal with that. And then the baby suffers because they got two parents that's at each other's necks. And then that messes up, you know, that situation too. So I think people should like be really committed, be married and before they even have kids or something like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because and how do you feel about those that are like deadbeat dads, kind of, where they just like they know they have a kid, but they just leave it? Like, I know some people that go to a different country, right? Let's say like Korea, right? And they're only there for like a couple weeks, and they have a kid there, and they get a girl pregnant there, and they leave.
Right.
So it's insane, but it happens all the time. I see it. What would you say to that? Would you say, oh, they're doing like it's no fault to them, or would you say like it's like, because there has to be some bad guys in the world, right? Where
I think, well, the thing with that is I always say this when it comes to this topic of you know, like kids out of wedlock and, you know, single moms and all that other stuff. I always bring it all the way back to the man, because remember, no woman can get pregnant if she ain't got your sperm. You know, so I always say it always starts with the dude, like, and again, so like, because guys will say, because I've been having like debates about this. They're like, oh, Locario, I don't like that you're saying this, but guys will say, oh, well, the woman has the kid in the stomach and she has a decision and she decides to keep it and yada, yada, yada. But I always say, listen, the baby didn't get into the stomach unless you impregnated her. And also what happens is this is why I said where men and women aren't equal, is that the problem with a lot of guys is men try to get women to make logical, rational decisions about things, but they know that women aren't like that. But then at the same time, they want women to be like that when it comes to these situations. So you already know women are illogical in most cases. They just go off of their feelings in certain situations. You know this is how they are. But then you give this woman the responsibility of having a baby in her stomach, and you expect her to like not have it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you know she's going to have it in most cases, because first of all, it's in her, and you don't know. You see, I always say this, as a man, you don't know the type of bond a woman feels of having a kid inside her. So she's probably like, I'm not getting rid of this. You know what I'm saying? So you knowing that women will most likely keep it, you should say, I'm going to not give you my sperm. You know what I'm saying? Like learn how to use a condom. You know what I mean? And I used to do this. When I have sex with women and I use condoms with these women I have sex with, I will pull out even with the condom on. Like, I'm like, I don't want you nowhere near my sperm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do none of that. I'm like, I'm paranoid. So I'm like,
well, how you feel about this? Getting a vasectomy before, let's say 40, before you think you're ready to have any type of.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely do that too. I think if you know that, look, I don't want to take care of no kids and I don't want to have any, I say do that too. You know what I mean? But I also heard, I'm not 100% sure, that the vasectomies aren't 100%, so you still might be able to get a girl pregnant. So I would say, I say still wear a condom just in case. But you know what I mean? If you wear a condom and you got a vasectomy, you should be good. You know what I'm saying? And I heard they could reverse it too. So if you want to like reverse it later in life, if you want to have kids, but that's what I'm saying. But that's exactly what I'm talking about, is that what you just said is a guy thinking and being responsible. He's like, well, I know I want to have sex. You know, I might be having a lot of sex or whatever it is. I'm not ready to be a father now. I don't want to, you know what I mean? So you got to think about these things before you actually go and get yourself in these situations. Because if you get a girl pregnant, it's a random girl pregnant, and then this woman turns out to be a nightmare,
you're done.
Yeah, you're done. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
And now in Texas, you know, with all the laws now.
Well, yeah, you can't have abortions, right? In Texas, no more.
No abortion. So I feel like it'll be beneficial if you get that procedure as a young man, especially in the military as well.
Right. I agree. That's real talk.
All right, Mr. Locario, I see that your time is running up here. And we do appreciate you coming here. Is there any ways that these guys can come out and like reach out to you?
Oh yeah, definitely. You guys can always hit me up on Instagram at real Mr. Locario. That's me on Instagram. Also, if you go to my website, mrlocario.com, that's MRLOCARIO.com. And also you can check out my membership site, badboymembership.com. That's a membership site where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month. And when you join that, you also get my documentary, The Game Kings, for free. So that documentary right here, this is the first documentary on game. It's called Game Kings. You can get that for free if you join the Bad Boy membership, or if you want it by itself, just go to mrlocario.com and check that out. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for coming here, Mr. Locario.
Oh, when is that book dropping again?
The new one, this one right here. This is the cover right here. Don't matter. You know what I'm saying? So this should be dropping sometime next week, like on the 16th or 17th, and you can get it at mrlocario.com. So definitely.
All
right. Thank you, Mr. Locario.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you guys, man. Appreciate y'all. I'm holla.
All right. See you.
Hey, bro.